For years, he was celebrated as a charismatic school leader, running school districts that shaped the lives of thousands of students. But it was all a lie. When Ian Roberts, Olympian and scholar from Guyana, was detained by ICE, everybody went crazy about DEI hiring and immigration. But nobody asked what was happening inside the schools that he ran. Let's talk about the victims no one else is talking about. How did Ian Roberts affect the colleagues who worked for him and the students who looked up to him?
Back 50 years ago, there were con men, and that stood for confidence man. They were well-dressed, they had a great vocabulary, they were a very likable person, and that's how they swindled you.
Ian Roberts was the leader every school board dreamed of hiring. Sharp suits, a cultured manner, degrees from top universities, and several years of experience. He presented himself as a top scholar and a former track athlete, admired and trusted by many. Unfortunately, Roberts had a very long history of lying about parts of his background.
Roberts falsely claimed to have had a doctorate in urban education leadership from Morgan State University. The university confirmed he never completed that program.
He was a modern-day Frank Abagnale, the con artist whose book inspired the film Catch Me If You Can.
Most people know me from the movie Catch Me If You Can. You know, between 16 and 21, I impersonated an airline pilot, a doctor, a lawyer. I wrote $2.5 million worth of bad checks.
And just like Abagnale, who eventually got caught, Roberts was detained by ICE in September of 2025. His education con game was finally over. But to understand the true cost beyond the political tug of war, we have to look at what happened before his subsequent arrest. The first signs of trouble came in 2008 while he was a principal in Baltimore, Maryland. A teacher alleged that he pressured teachers to change the grades of students who were on the basketball team. Later, the teacher alleged that he took fundraising money and illegally disciplined this teacher. A 2013 lawsuit was lost because it was beyond the statute of limitations. But this incident of abusive behavior was just an appetizer. Later, as a superintendent in Mill Creek Township, Pennsylvania, his behavior cost the district nearly $500,000 in settlements. People like Melody Ellington claimed that Roberts created a hostile work environment, while Joe Orlando and Timothy Stoops claimed gender discrimination after being demoted and passed over for better employment. Ian Roberts was a real-life Eddie Haskell.
Good night, Mr. Cleaver. Good night, Mrs. Cleaver. Good night, little fellow.
Good night, Eddie.
Gentle and charming to the school board, but hostile toward colleagues behind closed doors. The district quietly paid settlements, washed their hands of the matter, and moved on. But somehow, even after costing the district nearly $500,000, the Mill Creek board gave Roberts positive reviews. He landed another position in Des Moines, Iowa, as superintendent, with an even larger salary. Ian Roberts earned approximately $1.1 million as a superintendent in Pennsylvania and Iowa combined. This is an astounding con, considering that he faked his way into these positions. What did the taxpayers get for the money spent on his salaries? The data linking district leadership to school performance is difficult to gather, but here's what the few numbers I found do show. In Des Moines, test scores, attendance, and graduation rates show modest gains. Mill Creek showed no real change, as it was a high-performing district before and after Ian's arrival. He was being paid over $1 million just to end up maintaining the status quo without having made any real changes or big impacts on school performance. The suits, the speeches, the scandals, the lackluster progress. In hindsight, none of this was worth the cost of hiring this man, which brings us to the bigger issue. Take a look at this typical school district organizational chart. In this hierarchical structure, teachers, janitors, lunch ladies, and assistants are at the bottom. The administrators are at the top. In this structure, the higher you climb, the more you get paid, and the less you interact with the lives that matter most. the students. It makes me wonder about the institution of school beyond one man's illegal employment. When any superintendent can make $250,000 per year, what good is that doing for the taxpayers? It's hard to prove how superintendents directly and positively affect students and teachers. Could some of the money that they're paid be used elsewhere? Could bureaucratic and managerial duties of a superintendent be distributed amongst other leaders? Is there a way to cut costs? Is there a way to mandate more accountability in these high-paying positions? It's true. Ian Roberts is a fraud who lied and engaged in criminal acts as an illegal resident of the United States. He's almost like the Umar Johnson of public education.
Write that check, write that money order payable to the FD. Let's get the floors done and finish what we started.
An intelligent black man with questionable credentials who used K-12 education as a grift. But it seems to me that the U.S. public education system is even more criminal. We have a system where the people closest to kids make the least, and the few who are furthest from kids make the most. As we ask ourselves why on earth Ian Roberts got away with deceiving the public so long, we can also ask why our public school districts exist as they do. And is it time to consider other structures that best support the students?